I still remember the moment I thought I was going to die, but what haunts me even more is the promise I made before the sun came up. A promise that changed 3 lives forever. If I had broken it, the woman I loved might have hated me forever. If I had kept it, I would have to carry a secret that would reshape my understanding of family, forgiveness, and love. Before we begin this unforgettable story, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Heartwarming Tales for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. Winter had arrived earlier than anyone expected. The mountains surrounding the small town looked peaceful under the bright daytime sky, their white peaks sparkling beneath the sun as if nothing dangerous could ever happen there. I had been dating Maren for nearly 2 years, and although our relationship had its ups and downs, I believed we were moving toward a future together. Her mother, Celine, was a quiet woman who rarely smiled. She always treated me politely but never warmly. I assumed she simply thought no one was good enough for her daughter. When she asked if I could drive her to a neighboring town to collect supplies for the local community center because her own vehicle had broken down, I agreed without hesitation. I wanted to prove that I cared about her family as much as I cared about Maren. The drive began under clear blue skies. The roads were dry, and the conversation was light but awkward. Celine mostly looked out the window, watching the snowy forests pass by while I focused on the winding road. She finally thanked me for helping her, admitting she wasn't used to asking anyone for favors. It was the longest conversation we had ever shared. I started to realize that behind her reserved personality was someone carrying an invisible weight that had nothing to do with me. Everything changed in less than 30 minutes. Dark clouds rolled across the mountains with terrifying speed. The sunshine disappeared, replaced by thick snow that seemed to fall from every direction at once. Visibility vanished almost instantly. I could barely see beyond the hood of the truck. The road became impossible to follow, and despite driving slowly, the tires lost traction. We slid into a snowbank before coming to a complete stop. I tried everything to free the truck, but the wheels only dug deeper into the frozen ground. There was no phone signal. No passing cars. No nearby houses. Only endless white silence. The cold arrived faster than fear. We knew staying inside the truck forever wasn't an option because fuel was limited. We spotted what looked like an abandoned ranger cabin several hundred yards away through the blowing snow. Fighting against freezing winds, we struggled across knee-deep drifts until we finally reached the weathered wooden shelter. The cabin had no electricity, but it was enough to block the wind. Inside we found an old fireplace, a few dry logs, and dusty blankets left behind years earlier. After several attempts, I managed to light a fire. The warmth spread slowly, bringing feeling back into our frozen hands. For hours we waited. Outside, the storm only grew stronger. As daylight faded behind the thick clouds, something unexpected happened. The silence between us disappeared. Celine began talking about her life. She spoke about losing her husband when Maren was only 10 years old. She confessed how every decision since then had been driven by fear. Fear of losing her daughter. Fear of trusting people again. Fear of watching someone she loved disappear without warning. She admitted she had judged me from the beginning, not because of anything I had done, but because opening her heart again felt too dangerous. Listening to her, I no longer saw the intimidating mother who always seemed impossible to impress. I saw a woman who had survived unimaginable heartbreak while raising a child alone. The walls she had built around herself suddenly made perfect sense. Night fell. The temperature inside the cabin continued dropping despite the fire. We took turns feeding the flames, sharing the blankets to preserve body heat. There was nothing inappropriate about that long night, only 2 frightened people trying to survive until morning. We spoke honestly about regret, grief, hope, and forgiveness. She told me something that would stay with me forever. She said that sometimes people mistake strength for never crying, when real strength is choosing to love again after life gives you every reason not to. By dawn the storm had finally weakened. A rescue team located the truck and followed our footprints to the cabin. As the rescuers checked that we were safe, Celine quietly looked at me with tired eyes filled with gratitude. She softly said, "Don't tell my daughter about tonight. At first I was confused. Then she explained that Marin already worried about her constantly. If she learned how close we had come to freezing to death, she would blame herself for encouraging the trip and carry that guilt forever. Celine didn't want her daughter living with that burden. I nodded. Some promises aren't made because they're easy. They're made because they're kind. Life slowly returned to normal, but something inside our family had changed. Celine no longer looked at me with suspicion. Instead, she welcomed me into Sunday dinners, asked about my work, and even laughed at my terrible jokes. Marin noticed the difference but never understood exactly why her mother suddenly trusted me. Months later, I asked Marin to marry me. When I nervously shared the news with Celine before anyone else, tears filled her eyes. She hugged me for the first time and whispered that her late husband would have been proud to see someone willing to protect their family without asking for recognition. Our wedding took place the following spring beneath warm sunshine, surrounded by blooming trees instead of falling snow. As I watched Celine walk her daughter toward me, I realized that the most important relationship I had earned wasn't built through grand gestures. It had been built during one terrifying winter night when survival depended on honesty, compassion, and quiet courage. Some secrets don't divide families. Some protect them. Years later, after Celine peacefully passed away from natural causes, Marin discovered an old journal her mother had written. Inside was a single page describing the snowstorm. It didn't reveal every detail. Instead, it simply said that she had learned one extraordinary truth: the man her daughter loved had risked everything without expecting praise, and because of that, she finally believed her daughter would never have to face life alone. Marin read those words through tears before embracing me without saying a single question. She understood everything her mother had wanted her to know. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who believes that love is proven through actions, and subscribe to Heartwarming Tales for more unforgettable emotional journeys. Special request, comment below with "Kindness always finds its way home." We'd love to know where you're watching from and what part of this story touched your heart the most. Sometimes the greatest promises are never spoken loudly. They are carried quietly through the years, protecting the people we love until the very end. And perhaps that's what family truly means: not perfection, but choosing compassion even when no one else will ever know.